Today I will be reviewing the first audio game I've ever played, Rocky's Dragon Village. Found through www.audiogames.net, Dragon Village is one of the many games that Martin Blythe, aka Rocky Waters, created for the visually impaired, though any could be played by sighted people like me. Playing through the game required a computer, in my case, a Windows laptop, as well as a keyboard. A screen reader is pre-installed with the game. Dragon Village is essentially a resource management game, or should I say village management game, with medieval fantasy locales. By navigating a 7x5 grid, you are able to assign 100 workers to different parts of the town on a day-to-day basis, in order to keep your village, thriving. However, a lot of obstacles stand in your way, from inside and outside your village. If you lack available food, then peasants will riot and villagers will die, so be sure to send some workers to the barley and wheat fields. But wait, if you lack protection, then wolves and outlaws will attack and villagers will die, so be sure to get workers on the watchtower and train some warriors. But wait, if you don't win the king's favor with goods and riches, surely he will get angry and villagers will die. As you can see, this is just a taste of the many layers and objectives the player has to manage. The hook of this game is achieved by its unpredictability. Chance occurrences, such as floods that damage crops, an oracle who shows up in the village, a spike in bandits or wolves or rats, allow for the necessity to reassign workers and strategize what area of resources needs to be prioritized every day. Sounds like a great concept, but how does it play? Playing for around an hour and reaching 10 in-game days, here are a few things that stood out to me. 1. Unfortunately, the narrative of the game is quite dry, resorting to common medieval tropes and having no character or quirk to really shake up the game's atmosphere. Perhaps the dragon, which was only briefly mentioned, will show up and really change up the game. 2. There are 4 difficulties: relaxing, interesting, challenging, and stressful. You can decide what kind of game experience is right for you, but I found interesting to be a good balance of casual but strategic play. 3. Note that some obstacles, such as the rats, have no apparent solution, and the game does not provide a sense of progression or expansion. Besides the inclusion of an oracle or king, I did not feel the village grid changed at a fast enough pace, or at all. At some point I felt there wasn't a need to change up what I had to do. Perhaps other difficulties make resource management more thoughtful and engaging. 4. The game utilizes nearly the entirety of the keyboard, most of which are used to keep track of every resource or mechanic, which can ultimately feel cluttered and convoluted. It can be unintuitive at times, since it will be very difficult to remember every command possible. And 5. Perhaps the best part of the game is its sound design. Each tile in the village grid has a unique sound attached to it, meaning that eventually I had a good understanding of where I was in the village in a split second. Similarly, when you reach the edge of the grid, there's a distinct sound that plays to tell you, so it's easy to access the edge tiles of the grid. Likewise, each tile is labeled like a chessboard, so there's even more recognition of what part of town you're in without needing to hear the full explanation or description of the tile. Since you always start at the center of the grid, you eventually get a flow about where everything is located in your mind, allowing for ease of use when assigning workers across town. On that note, you could also speed up and slow down the screen reader, amongst other customizable options. Even if Dragon Village might not be your cup of tea, Rocky Waters' webpage has a plethora of games of different genres, so be sure to check out their website as well as www.audiogames.net for more audio game experiences.